Chapter 258. The noise was so loud that the guests nearby were all dumbfounded. A few seconds later, a few people who were talking to the person who fell finally reacted. They went forward to help her up and screamed, "What are you doing?" The person who hit her sneered and crossed her fingers, making a frightening cracking sound. "You're talking bad about my niece behind her back, and you're asking me what I'm doing?" They were frightened by her words and their faces turned pale. When they opened their mouths to speak, Su Yiyan and the others had already noticed the noise and looked over. "Aunt!" Su Yiyan's eyes lit up when she saw them. She picked up her long skirt and ran over to them. Su Yuding couldn't help but complain, slow down, slow down. You're already married, but you're still so impatient. What if you fall?" "I know what I'm doing." "Aunt, when did you arrive? Why didn't you tell me in advance that someone would pick you up? I thought you wouldn't be able to make it back." The woman in front of her looked to be in her early 30s and was wearing a short skirt. She was Su Yiyan's aunt, Su Yuding, Mr. Su's sister. Although Su Yuding was adopted by Su Yiyan's grandparents and was not related to Mr. Su by blood, she had a very good relationship with the Su family. It was just that in recent years, she had been traveling everywhere. Before Su Yiyan's wedding, Cheng Xiuqin and the others had tried to contact her. At that time, she was still bungee jumping in a faraway place and would try to come back as soon as possible. They didn't receive a reply from her this morning, so they thought she was delayed by something else and couldn't make it back. They didn't expect. "I arrived this morning. How could I not be at your wedding? I wanted to give you a surprise, but I didn't expect that there would be some twists and turns on the way, so I couldn't make it to your wedding ceremony." Su Yuding pursed her lips and was a little unhappy when she said this. At this moment, Hua Chenhuan and the others also came over. Gu Xiaoyang went to Hua Chenhuan and said a few words to him. Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes dangerously and said apologetically, "It's our fault for not being well prepared. Aunt met someone she shouldn't have met and ruined her mood." "Someone I shouldn't have met?" Su Yiyan looked at Su Yuding in confusion. "Auntie, who did you meet?" Su Yuding snorted. "Who else could it be? It's your big day. Don't you know what kind of blind people like to come and annoy you?" Su Yiyan frowned and quickly reacted. "Hua Xiaofeng? Auntie, did you meet Hua Xiaofeng? Where is he?" Before Su Yuding could answer, Gu Xiaoyang had already coughed softly and held back his laughter. She was sent to the hospital by Ms. Su. Cheng Xiuqin and the others had just arrived when they heard this. They asked curiously and excitedly, "Pfft, what's going on? What happened? Why is Hua Xiaofeng in the hospital again?" The word "again" could be said to be very eloquent. Gu Xiaoyang smiled under everyone's probing gazes and said, "It's like this. When Ms. Su arrived, she happened to meet Hua Xiaofeng and his girlfriend who wanted to forcibly land on the island. The security guards at the edge of the island didn't receive their invitation and didn't want to let them on the island. The two sides had a dispute. Chapter 259. After hearing Gu Xiaoyang's words, the group of people looked at Su Yuding with astonishment and even fear. It seemed that they had never thought that such a beautiful and charming woman could be so lethal. Only the Su family was quite calm about this, especially Su Yiyan. Her skills were first learned from Su Yuding. Later, when Su Yuding started to travel around, her family found a few other good coaches to help her with the formal training system. Because of this, the relationship between the two was the best in the family, and their temperaments were quite similar. Su Yiyan was fine. She would at least say a few words before the fight. Su Yuding's temper was much more explosive. She was the type who would not talk much if she could fight. Hua Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping were really lucky. They could have met anyone, but they met Su Yuding and were sent to the hospital. Su Yiyan and the others did not have much sympathy for them. On the contrary, they were somewhat gloating. They did not even send invitations to the family Hua because they did not want to see the ugly faces of this group of idiots on this big day. They rushed to disgust them. Now that they were in the hospital, they could only curse that they deserved it. "Auntie, did you fight with them? Are you okay? What can happen to me? Even if there were 10 of them, they would not be able to defeat me. If it were not for your big day today, it would be inauspicious if something really happened. I would have pressed them into the water for a while." Su Yuding snorted coldly. She was not happy. She did not really want to kill the two people. She just thought that if they were soaked in the water for a while, their brains would be completely stupid. That would save them a lot of trouble. Su Yiyan understood her implication. She laughed and said, "Yes, yes, yes. I know that you are the best, Auntie. Let alone 1 or 2 soft-footed shrimps like Hua Xiaofan. Even if there were 10 or 8 of them, you would not care about them. However, it's all thanks to Aunt that my wedding with Chen Huan went so smoothly. This is all thanks to Aunt." Su Yuding subconsciously glanced at Hua Chunhuan, who was not far away. "Is this your husband?" Su Yiyan blushed and giggled. "Yes, Auntie. You can just call him Chen Huan. You look quite decent, but I don't know if you can protect yourself." Su Yuding narrowed her eyes and went straight to the point. "Niece-in-law, someone just mocked our family's Yan Yan for marrying a disabled person and even mocked my brother and sister-in-law for selling their daughter. Are you going to do something about it?" "What?" Su Yuting's words made everyone's expression change. After the initial shock, the few of them seemed to have thought of something. Their eyes fell on the woman who was kicked to the ground by Su Yuting. Although she had already stood up with the help of others, her face was unusually miserable. "No, it's not like that. I didn't." It was true that the woman liked to gossip, but she was not completely brainless. Bad-mouthing people behind their backs and bad-mouthing people in front of them were 2 completely different things. She instinctively wanted to defend herself, but was interrupted by Su Yuting. "Do you mean that I wronged you?" Chapter 260. It was a light sentence, but it made those people feel an inexplicable chill run down their spines. "Don't slander us. We didn't say anything." "That's right. Just because she's from the Su family, you can't slander her like this." Su Yuting sneered. "I haven't even said what you said. Why are you feeling guilty?" They choked instantly. While they were arguing, Zui Yanbai had roughly told Hua Chunhuan about the identities and backgrounds of these people. Naturally, he also emphasized their relationship with Hua Qihan's family. Hua Chunhuan's eyes turned cold. "Mrs. Zhen, Mrs. Liu, Mrs. Zhu, right? Go back and tell your family that the Hua Group will cut off all business cooperation with your family. If you don't want to go bankrupt, find another family as soon as possible so that you don't end up on the streets." When they heard Hua Chunhuan's words, their expressions changed slightly. Mrs. Zhu, who had the best family background, couldn't help but take a step forward and say with some arrogance, "What right do you have to cut off family whose cooperation with us? You're just a—" Before Mrs. Zhu could finish her words, Hua Chunhuan interrupted her. "Because I'm the only legitimate heir of family Hua. Yanbai, see them out. I don't want to see these families again." Hua Chunhuan's words clearly meant that she wanted to blacklist these families completely. Zua Yanbai respectfully responded with an excited smile in his eyes. Zua Yanbai had always been nimble. As soon as Hua Chunhuan finished speaking, he rushed forward with a group of people and carried the women out. The women didn't expect Hua Chunhuan to really hit them. They struggled and cursed angrily, but it didn't change the fact that they were thrown out. When they were completely thrown out of the manor and the house was quiet again, Hua Chunhuan raised her eyes and glanced at Gu Xiaoyang. Gu Xiaoyang instantly understood and said with a smile, "There are too many people here, and we didn't notice that a few rats had sneaked in and affected everyone's mood. It's our negligence. Please don't mind it. After the banquet is over, we will prepare a small gift for each of you as an apology for what happened just now." As soon as Gu Xiaoyang's words came out, many people echoed and said that it was okay. The atmosphere seemed to have returned to the lively atmosphere before the accident, but there was an inexplicable depression. But no matter what, after such a ruckus, even if there were still people who ridiculed the marriage of the two, they didn't dare to rashly announce it. The word bankrupt was not a joke. Although some of them, like those women, were skeptical of Hua Chunhuan's words just now. However, it would be very foolish of him to bring trouble to his own family just because of a few words of gossip. The losses outweighed the gains. During the process of Hua Chunhuan throwing the women out, Su Yuding and the Su family were observing from the beginning to the end. When the matter was almost settled, she asked meaningfully, "Is what you said just now true? Can you influence the decision of the Hua family and make them bankrupt?" Hua Chunhuan's expression didn't change. She said indifferently, "Auntie, I never say things that I'm not sure about." Su Yuding raised her eyebrows slightly and continued to ask, Isn't it making a mountain out of a molehill to make them bankrupt just because of a few words of gossip? Chapter 261. Su Yuding stared at Hua Chunhuan for a long time before she finally smiled sincerely. I like your personality. Yan Yan has good taste. At least he picked a responsible girl. As his aunt, I can rest assured. Cheng Xiuqin and the others couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when they heard her words. Children have their own lives. Children have their own ideas. As adults, we shouldn't interfere. Whatever we say now is meaningless. We should think about how to live a good life in the future. That's true. Su Yuting glanced sideways at Su Yiyan. Did you hear that? Since you're married, you should settle down and live a peaceful life. Don't let your parents worry about you. Got it. After that, no one mentioned those women who ruined the mood. However, this didn't mean that the matter was over. Not to mention that Hua Chunhuan had said that he would make them pay the price. Mr. Su and the others couldn't tolerate those gossipy women talking about him selling his daughter. Sooner or later, they would get back at them. Perhaps Hua Chunhuan's threat was effective, or perhaps no one dared to stir up trouble at night and risk being thrown to the bottom of the sea to feed the fish. When the banquet was completely over and the guests had all left, nothing else happened to spoil the mood. Mr. Su and the others were the last to leave. They reluctantly left the manor with Ling Xiaoqi and the others as bridesmaids. The two newlyweds finally had a chance to be alone. I'm exhausted. I've been busy all day. It's even more tiring than when I worked in the shop. Su Yiyan rolled around on the soft bed and suddenly turned to look at Hua Chunhuan. She got up from the bed and sat on Hua Chunhuan's body. Like an octopus, she hugged his neck and rubbed against him. But it's worth it. From today onwards, we're officially husband and wife. Hua Chunhuan's heart skipped a beat. He hugged Su Yiyan's waist back and said in a low voice, Okay. Are you not happy? Su Yiyan keenly sensed Hua Chunhuan's mood and looked up at him. Hua Chunhuan touched her face with the back of his hand and smiled. No, I'm very happy. But why do I feel that you're not in a good mood? Are you not feeling well? Hua Chunhuan shook his head again. After a moment of silence he said apologetically, Tonight is our wedding night, but I can't do anything. Su Yiyan was stunned. Only then did she remember the crux of the problem. She laughed and said, Who said that we can't do anything? We can do a lot of things. What? Did you get someone to make the bathtub I asked you to prepare? Yes. Where? In the bathroom cubicle. Hua Chunhuan heard Su Yiyan say that she wanted to use the bathtub to take a bath. He thought that she didn't like to use a bathtub, so he asked someone to separate a small room in the original bathroom with a bead curtain and put the bathtub there. Su Yiyan immediately jumped down from Hua Chunhuan's body and rushed into the bathroom. After finding the bathtub in the small cubicle, her eyes lit up. She quickly began to add hot water and the medicinal herbs that she had prepared earlier. What are you doing? Hua Chunhuan saw this scene when he heard the noise and came over. Su Yiyan saw him coming over. She smiled and waved at him. Come here, I'll help you take off your clothes. Take off my clothes? Hua Chunhuan's hand that was holding the wheelchair handle suddenly paused. Chapter 262. Hua Chunhuan was caught off guard by Su Yiyan's rhetorical question. For a moment, he didn't know how to refute it. Su Yiyan had already soaked all the herbs. Seeing that Hua Chunhuan was still sitting there in a daze, Su Yiyan rolled her eyes and walked over with a smile. It's not convenient for you. Let me help you. Hua Chunhuan seemed to wake up from a dream. Blushing slightly, he said, No need. I can do it myself. It's too slow for you to do it yourself. Let me do it. Hua Chunhuan. Su Yiyan saw his resistance and teased, Or are you embarrassed? Hua Chunhuan didn't say anything, but the tips of his ears quietly turned red. The smile in Su Yiyan's eyes deepened. She chuckled and said, We are husband and wife. What can I not see about you? Hua Chunhuan. Although there was nothing wrong with what she said, didn't their identities switch? In the end, Hua Chunhuan couldn't resist Su Yiyan's fervent attacks. He had no choice but to agree to Su Yiyan's request. Hua Chunhuan was still wearing the white wedding suit outside and a white shirt inside. Su Yayan took a deep breath and helped him unbutton his shirt one by one. She was like a child unwrapping a birthday present. Her eyes were shining, and there was a little excitement in them. In fact, the scene inside didn't disappoint her. Although Hua Chenhuan looked thin, he was the type who looked thin in clothes but had muscles when he took them off. Especially his arms, which were firm and muscular. Even if his lower body was paralyzed, he had never given up on training his upper body. Su Yayan's first reaction was to blush when she saw this scene. However, when she saw Hua Chenhuan's legs, which had shrunk due to years of insomnia, her shyness was instantly replaced by heartache. Her eyes were slightly red as she caressed Hua Chenhuan's legs. Her movements were careful and without any lust, as if she was touching something fragile. Hua Chenhuan had long been used to people looking at his legs with contempt and disdain. However, he still felt a little sad when he saw Su Yayan's sad gaze. He reached out to hold Su Yayan's hand and said in a hoarse voice, "If you continue to touch them, I'll have to charge you." Charge? Su Yayan was stunned. She raised her eyebrows and asked, "What kind of charge? If you touch me, you kiss me on the face. If you touch me twice, kiss on the forehead, kiss me on and so on and so on. If you can't pay, you can give yourself to me." When Su Yayan heard the first few sentences, she felt that the payment method was a little familiar. She almost could not help but laugh when she heard the last sentence. Wasn't this charging method the VVV, special benefit for IP customers that she had previously set? Aren't you making a loss by charging so much? Lose? Of course. Su Yayan took the initiative to kiss Hua Chenhuan. "I was originally yours. Don't you think you're losing out by exchanging your own things for these?" When Su Yayan said this, Hua Chenhuan's expression couldn't help but soften a little. Although the room was warm, it would still be cold after sitting for a long time. Su Yayan didn't continue to explore Hua Chenhuan's legs. She whispered, "I'll help you sit in the bathtub." No need. With Su Yayan's thin arms and legs, the bathtub was at least a little tall. Hua Chenhuan was still aware of his own weight and directly pressed the wheelchair below. Chapter 263. Although the wheelchair couldn't completely replace his legs, it could at least ensure that he didn't need to rely on others for his daily life. Su Yayan watched Hua Chenhuan enter the tub with the help of the wheelchair and hurriedly asked, "How do you feel? Is it too hot? Do you want to add some cold water?" There was a seat at the bottom of the tub to ensure that after a person sat in it, the water could only stay near his shoulders. After sitting down, Hua Chenhuan smiled at Su Yayan and comforted her. "It's okay. The temperature is suitable. It's just that the smell is a little strange. I added a lot of Chinese herbs to dredge the muscles and bones, promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis. It will smell a little strange. Is it bad?" "It's not bad. It just feels a little special. I've never smelled this before. Bear with it for the sake of treatment. If you're not used to this smell, I'll change some herbs for you another day." "No need. I can accept this smell." Su Yayan repeatedly confirmed that Hua Chenhuan really didn't reject this smell. She was relieved and asked with a smile, "Do you feel any difference in your body now?" Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said honestly, "It's a little hot." "Hot? This is a normal reaction." Su Yayan asked tentatively, "Can you feel the side of your legs?" Hua Chenhuan knew what Su Yayan wanted to ask. She lowered her eyes and shook her head in disappointment. Su Yayan's heart ached and she hurriedly comforted her. "It's okay. This is just the beginning. The medicinal diet and acupuncture haven't been done yet. You'll feel it one day." "Okay. It's your first time today, so you have to soak for more than half an hour. If you feel that the water is cold, remember to tell me. I'll add more water for you." "Okay." After testing the temperature of the water, Su Yayan leaned on the edge of the tub and waited with Hua Chenhuan for time to pass. As she waited, she seemed to think of something and burst out laughing. Hua Chenhuan heard the sound and turned to look at her in confusion. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. It's just that when you sit in the tub, it's like sitting in a big pot." In particular, the color of the medicinal bath was brown. It looked like... Su Yayan's throat couldn't help but move. She smiled foolishly and said, "Add some star anise, cinnamon, nutmeg, fennel. The fragrance will spread for 10 miles. Literally. eat. Calm. Hua Chenhuan soon realized that the person guarding him was so tired that she had fallen asleep. He felt helpless and a little distressed at the same time. He reached out and touched her cheek, only to see her lips moving slightly as if she was saying something. He leaned closer to listen carefully and heard her muttering, braised eggs, chicken legs, chicken feet, duck gizzards. Hua Chenhuan was slightly stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He glanced at the time on the edge of the wheelchair and got up by holding the edge of the tub. He wanted to carry Su Yiyen back to the room. Unexpectedly, when he reached out, he heard Su Yiyen whisper again, "Chenhuan, I like you." Chapter 264. Su Yiyen slept until almost 9 o'clock the next day, perhaps because she had been too tired the previous day. Only then did she reluctantly wake up. In a daze, she heard a familiar chuckle. Su Yiyen was stunned for a moment before she realized that there was someone lying next to her. Her brain, which had just woken up from a deep sleep, was still a little dazed. She subconsciously moved back. The laughter by her ear paused, and then a familiar voice asked, "You're awake?" Only then did Su Yiyen remember that yesterday was her and Hua Chenhuan's official wedding day. Now, the person lying next to her was her husband. Realizing this, Su Yiyen's face suddenly turned red. She lowered her head slightly and said, "Morning." "Morning." Hua Chenhuan's lips curled up slightly, and he took the initiative to kiss Su Yiyen. The scene in front of him was something he had imagined countless times, but he did not dare to hope for. Now it had become reality. After being kissed, Su Yiyen was still a little dazed. After a while, she remembered that she was shy. At the same time, she also remembered what happened last night. How did I fall asleep last night?" "You were too tired. You were busy the whole day, so you fell asleep lying next to the bathtub." Su Yiyen was even more embarrassed when she heard that. She had clearly said that she would accompany him, but in the end, she had fallen asleep first. "Were you the one who carried me to the bed?" "Yes." Su Yiyen did not dare to look into Hua Chenhuan's eyes. If Hua Chenhuan's body was fine, after sleeping last night, she was afraid that she would wake up in a different situation today. With that thought, Su Yiyen's face turned even redder. "Cough. Did you soak enough time last night?" "Yes." Hua Chenhuan saw Su Yiyen's embarrassment. His eyes turned slightly, and he deliberately teased her. "You talked in your sleep last night. Dream talk." Su Yiyen was shocked. "What did I say?" "You said." Hua Chenhuan dragged her words to keep him in suspense. When Su Yiyen's heart skipped a beat, she said faintly, "You like me. You like me very, very much. I'm the person you like the most in the world." Su Yiyen was stunned. When she came to her senses, her entire face turned red. Hua Chenhuan did not intend to let her go so easily. She smiled and said, "So you like me so much?" Su Yiyen's face was so hot that it could fry an egg. When she heard his words, she suddenly looked up at him. She got up and jumped onto Hua Chenhuan. "So what if I am? I was wrong to like my own husband." Hua Chenhuan looked at the person on top of him, and the teasing smile on his face gradually disappeared. She said fiercely that she liked him, but her flushed little face had already betrayed her. She was like a little kitten guarding its territory. All the hair on her body stood up, just to not show her fear. Hua Chenhuan's smile did not disappear. "Well, you didn't do anything wrong. You like me." Su Yiyen was stunned. Only then did she realize that she might have been fooled by Hua Chenhuan. She was embarrassed and angry. "You?" Before she could finish speaking, the door was suddenly opened from the outside. "Young master, young madam, are you awake? Uncle Zhang asked me to." Yu Xian's cheerful words came to an abrupt end. She stared blankly at the scene in the room. Su Yiyen widened her eyes in disbelief at the intruder. Before she could say anything, Yu Xian closed the door with a bang, as if he had been scolded. "I didn't see anything. You can continue." After shouting, the sound of Yu Xian's running came from outside the door. This guy clearly realized that he had made a big mistake and fled to avoid punishment. Su Yiyen. Chapter 265. After Yu Zian ran away, the two of them looked at each other for 2 seconds. Su Yiyan was the first to react. She jumped off Hua Chenhuan's body and ran to the bathroom as if she was escaping. "I'm going to brush my teeth first. Get up quickly. Let's go down and eat." Hua Chenhuan looked at her fleeing figure and couldn't help smiling. She touched the spot where she was pulled and got up. When Su Yiyan pushed Hua Chenhuan downstairs, only Uncle Zhang was standing at the dining table, fiddling with things. Yu Zian was nowhere to be found. He probably had to hide outside to avoid trouble for the rest of the day. When Uncle Zhang heard the noise, he subconsciously turned his head and looked in the direction of the sound. When he saw the two of them coming down hand in hand, his eyes lit up. He smiled and said, "Young master, young madam is awake. The kitchen just made a few more snacks today. Young madam, take a look and see if they are to your liking." Su Yiyan pushed Hua Chenhuan to the dining table. She glanced at the snacks on the table and was stunned. "These snacks?" Uncle Zhang knew what Su Yiyan wanted to ask, so he explained first. "Young madam made a lot of snacks for young master. These snacks were made by the family's chef. The taste is definitely better than the ones you made. Time is tight this morning. Young madam, you can eat some first. When we return to the family mansion tomorrow, I'll ask the kitchen to make more delicious snacks for you and young master." When Su Yiyan heard him say this, she was surprised and amazed. The family Hua's chef could recreate the same snacks just by looking at them. This family's chef was really talented. Su Yiyan walked to the seat next to Hua Chenhuan and sat down. She first picked up a soup dumpling and then an egg tart. She realized that not only did the snacks look the same, but they also tasted similar to the ones she made. She immediately sighed. "Your family's chef is really amazing." When Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan praising the family's chef, her eyes flashed. She said in a deep voice, "You're even better. Their food isn't as good as yours." Su Yiyan's hand paused. She couldn't help but smile sweetly. "Then I'll make all your meals from now on." Before they got married, Su Yiyan often gave him special treatment. Now that they were married and living together, she naturally had to take care of everything and make more supplements for Hua Chenhuan's body. When Hua received an affirmative answer, her face softened. When he heard the two's conversation, the smile on his face became more and more sincere. Not to mention that there weren't many people who knew how to cook these days. Even if they did, very few people would be willing to provide 3 meals a day for the people around them. Not to mention Su Yiyan, who was pampered since she was young. She was a rich young lady who had been pampered since she was young. Uncle Zhang was an old man in the family Hua. When Hua Chenhuan's parents were still alive, he had been working in the family Hua. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he had watched Hua Chenhuan grow up. When he first found out about the reason for their marriage, he had some guesses and prejudices against Su Yiyan. However, during this period of time, he had seen Su Yiyan's care for Hua Chenhuan. Now that he saw the way the two of them interacted, he couldn't help but sigh. The young master had good taste. He liked Miss Su at first glance. Unlike some people who mistook fish eyes for pearls, they would regret it one day. Su Yiyan didn't know what Uncle Zhang was thinking. Just as she was about to pick up another bun, a bowl of fragrant red bean porridge was placed in front of her. Chapter 266. Su Yiyan looked in the direction of the hand that was holding the porridge and immediately met Uncle Zhang's kind eyes. "I heard that on ancient Earth, the bride must eat a bowl of red bean porridge on the second day of her wedding to express the joyous occasion. Young mistress, since you like ancient Earth food so much, you must like this custom too, so I asked the kitchen to make this bowl of red bean porridge." Su Yiyan was speechless. Red bean porridge was indeed a symbol of the couple's lingering feelings after marriage, but if she remembered correctly, when ancient Earth people drank red bean porridge on the second day of their wedding, it usually meant that the two of them were already. When she thought of this, Su Yiyan's face immediately flushed red. She opened her mouth to explain that nothing had happened between them last night, but then she remembered that the two of them were now husband and wife, so it would be strange if nothing had happened between them. She could only silently accept this hint and drink the red bean porridge mouthful by mouthful with a red face. When Uncle Zhang saw that she was obediently drinking the porridge, he felt rather comforted. After the two newlyweds entered the house last night, he was still a little worried and stood outside for a long time to listen in. He clearly heard Su Yiyen say that she wanted to help Hua Chunhuan take off her clothes. Uncle Zhang's first thought at that time was that this young mistress looked young and immature. He didn't expect her to be so proactive in front of his young master. However, this was also good. With his young master's temperament, he really needed a proactive girl to complement him. In addition, when Su Yiyen pushed Hua Chunhuan downstairs, she subconsciously held her waist a few times. She was exhausted from standing for so long yesterday, so Uncle Zhang was even more certain that the two of them had done what they should have done last night. Su Yiyen still didn't know that her simple action of holding her waist had inexplicably turned into a huge melon because of the old man's imagination. After breakfast, she pushed Hua Chunhuan outside to admire the flowers and digest her food. "Oh right, did you feel uncomfortable after the medicinal bath last night?" When Su Yiyen said this, she couldn't help but feel a little regretful. "Last night How did I fall asleep?" "I'm fine. I didn't feel any discomfort after the bath yesterday. On the contrary, I feel that my limbs aren't as cold as before. I slept very well yesterday." Su Yiyen breathed a sigh of relief when she heard what he said. "That's good. The fact that your limbs are warm means that your blood is circulating. I'll give you acupuncture and massage in the evening. Then, I'll prepare some medicinal cuisine to go with it. Let's see how it works." Yes. Hua Chunhuan's cooperation made Su Yiyen happy, but she was also curious. "You're just letting me do whatever I want. Aren't you afraid that I'm messing around and treating you badly?" "You won't." Su Yiyen was slightly startled. "Why? You can't bear to." Being exposed, Su Yiyen groaned gloomily. "Now you are confident. I wonder who was the one who was afraid that I would dislike him." Hua Chunhuan instinctively turned to look at her and teased. "At that time, I didn't know you liked me so much. Of course I was worried. Now you know." "Yes. Humph." Su Yiyen groaned proudly, but she didn't refute Hua Chunhuan's words. Hua Chunhuan raised the corner of his mouth. Immediately, he seemed to think of something and asked in a low voice, "Aren't you going out today?" Su Yiyen suddenly stopped and said unhappily, "It's only the first day of our marriage. Do you want to drive me out?" "No, I just heard from your brother that you've been very busy every day since you opened the shop." Chapter 267. Unfortunately, the conditions didn't allow it, so she could only leave this regret for the future. While the two were talking, Dun Dun, who had been locked upstairs and hadn't been released yesterday, finally regained his freedom and rushed out of the house happily. He kept circling around Su Yiyen and barking. Only then did Su Yiyen remember this dog's son who had been neglected by her for a long time. Her eyes turned slightly, and she leaned close to Hua Chunhuan's ear and asked with a smile, "Are you afraid of noise?" "Noise? I want Xiaoqi to bring Hua over. Look at how much our son misses his wife." Su Yiyen said and looked meaningfully at Dun Dun. Dun Dun seemed to understand her words. He kicked his legs forward and collapsed on the ground, looking at his dog father eagerly. "Hua Chunhuan, you're the mistress of the manor. You decide." "Okay, I'll call her now. I'll make delicious food for you at noon." As soon as she said that, Dun Dun immediately barked a few times happily, as if he knew that he would soon be able to meet his dream love dog. The reason why Su Yiyen asked Ling Xiaoqi to come over at this time wasn't just for Dun Dun, but also because she wanted to call more people to eat together and liven things up. At that time, the foodie patients who were complaining on the internet that Su Yiyen was lazy in doing business and that the shop had only been open for 3 days before she left the customers to get married. She was really too irresponsible. Suddenly, a reminder popped up as they scrolled. Su Yiyen's live broadcast room, which had been closed for nearly a week, was now live. "Look at what I saw. The missing person is back online." "Hey, didn't the little cutie who went to the shop say that the streamer went to get married? Why is she live broadcasting at this time?" Who cares why the streamer is live broadcasting at this time? It's good that there's food to eat. Streamer, are you releasing a new product today?" Su Yiyen looked at the various messages that flew across the screen, as well as the increasing number of viewers in the upper right corner of the screen. He smiled and said, "I did go to get married. Today is the first day of my wedding. I wanted to share the good news with everyone, so I started the live broadcast." As soon as Su Yiyen's words came out, The live stream instantly exploded. It's the host's first day of marriage, yet she still has so much energy. Looks like it's the host's husband's fault. He. What are you talking about, upstairs? I'm still a pure and innocent baby. I don't understand. I'm curious about what the host looks like. I'm curious about what the host's husband looks like. I'm curious about the host and her husband's wedding. I'm curious about everything, but what I'm most curious about is how the host spent last night. You're all bad, but I like it. Host, please do a live broadcast of the wedding night. Su Yiyen's mouth twitched when he saw that the topic in the live broadcast room was beginning to deviate. Just as he was about to change the topic, he heard a familiar notification sound. Congratulations to the host, Yen, for receiving 10 luxurious and exquisite villas sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. Congratulations to the host, Yen, for receiving 520 giant oil tankers sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. Congratulations to the host, Yen, for receiving 9,999 roses sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. A series of special gift effects almost overshadowed the comments that filled the screen. Many people spontaneously stopped spamming the screen when they saw the rows of gifts. Soon, only a colorful message was left on the originally crowded screen. Chapter 268. The bullet screen, which had finally calmed down, seemed to have flipped a switch and began to flood the screen with congratulatory messages. In the eyes of the audience in the live broadcast room, Hua Chenhuan's series of gifts might just be to congratulate Su Yiyen on his marriage. Only Su Yiyen knew that he might have done this simply because he didn't want others to ask about what happened last night. Thinking of this, Su Yiyen's face turned red again. Thank you, everyone. In order to celebrate my marriage, 3 lucky viewers will be given some braised food today. In addition, the guests who go to the restaurant tomorrow will be given a red egg as a wedding gift. Red egg? What is a red egg? Is it an egg with a red shell? What kind of animal's egg is red? Red eggs are eggs that have been dyed with pigment. Giving out red eggs to relatives and friends on festive occasions such as weddings, childbirth, and even the child's 1-month-old birthday is a custom on ancient Earth. It implies prosperity and auspiciousness in the future. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, many people were moved. So there is such a meaning. I must go to the host's shop tomorrow to get a red egg and freeload off her auspicious aura. Maybe my Prince Charming will appear soon and come to marry me on a rainbow cloud. The host's auspicious aura is not something that ordinary people can freeload off. I want to get a red egg too. Pray that I will be promoted and rich next year and quickly become a billionaire. A group of people began to make all kinds of wishes and pray for the next year in a gourmet live broadcast room. Those who didn't know better would think that they had accidentally joined a fan group. Su Yiyen let them make a fuss and found what he wanted from the freezer. Pork belly, duck gizzard, duck heart. It seems like I'm still missing something. As soon as Su Yiyen finished speaking, Uncle Zhang walked in from outside with a big box of clean chicken feet in his hand. Young madam, these are the chicken feet you wanted. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up. He hurried forward and took the box of chicken feet. Thank you. There is a lot of smoke in here. Uncle Zhang, you should go outside and wait. It will be ready soon. Okay. I'll go out now. This short interlude once again caused a heated discussion among the audience in the live broadcast room. Young madam? So the host is now at her husband's house? Is the person above stupid? The host and her husband have already had their wedding. Naturally they have to live together. I was so happy before, I didn't notice that the background of the host's house has changed. But it's still as high-end as before. Of course, not all the comments were so harmonious. Soon, someone in the live broadcast room hinted that Su Yiyen had hooked up with a rich man. Such comments were quickly cleared, and the person who posted it was banned. However, there were still quite a few audience members who saw it. Unfortunately, most of them treated it as a joke. Are these days? Edition. The streamer herself is a rich woman. She just married another rich man of equal social status. Can't some people hold back their jealousy? Chapter 269. Although Su Yayan's livestream was not long, she had a lot of die-hard foodie fans. In addition, since the store was open for business, most people who went to the store to eat the medicinal cuisine felt the difference in their physical condition and attracted another wave of loyal fans. When Su Yayan was a newcomer, many people wanted to defame her but failed. Now, it was needless to say. Su Yayan put the chicken feet next to other ingredients and watched the audience speak up for her. Her heart felt warm. The next second, she saw someone asking about the chicken feet in her hand. You are all hating the rich, but I only care about the chicken feet in the streamer's hand. I've eaten this thing before. It doesn't have any meat, and it doesn't taste good after being stewed. I'm curious what the streamer will make it taste like. Don't worry, the previous fish was the same. In my impression, even if a lot of ginger was added to the fish, it still had a fishy smell. But the spicy boiled fish made people swallow their tongues. This will definitely work. Is the streamer going to add chili? I feel that chili can suppress many dishes with strong flavors. Spicy fans are looking forward to it. He had to admit that the foodies were very capable. He had only watched Su Yayan's livestream a few times, and he had figured out that chili peppers could cover up many dishes with strong flavors and make them taste better. If it's chili, a little pepper will be added. The taste is not obvious. But you're right. If the chicken feet are delicious, chili can be used to flavor it. But today, I'm going to make a different method. When there's a chance next time, I'll teach you how to make something else. Su Yayan was not surprised by the audience's comments on the chicken feet. In this era where Chinese herbs and chili were scarce, it was impossible for pickled pepper chicken feet and braised chicken feet to appear. But if it were not for these two, the chicken feet would always feel like they lacked a certain soul. This was also the reason why Su Yayan had asked Uncle Zhang if there were any ready-made ingredients in the kitchen. After Su Yayan finished speaking, she set up a pot, added water, and began to add the braising ingredients into the gauze bag. Star anise, cardamom, bay leaf, tangerine peel, cinnamon, fennel. Unlike the previous live streams, Su Yayan did not explain the effects of the herbs to the audience one by one. This was because there were too many herbs to be used in the braising material. As the audience listened to the fresh medicinal herbs that they had never heard of before, they suddenly realized that the host might be preparing a big move. They looked forward to the pot of stew that looked like a hodgepodge. Only Hua Chenhuan, upon hearing Su Yayan's introduction, subconsciously recalled what Su Yayan had said the night before. Then, he looked at the pot of stew that was gradually boiling. Hua Chenhuan. So, you really want to cook me and eat me? The boiling hot water gradually brought the smell of the braised ingredients in the gauze bag together with the fragrance of the pork ribs that had been prepared earlier into the soup. The overbearing aroma instantly swept through the small kitchen and the live stream room. It even drifted outside the courtyard. Ling Xiaoqi and Zhua Yanbai, who had heard the news and rushed over to eat and drink, were shocked. It also made the audience in the live stream room go crazy. What is this smell? How can it be so fragrant? Oh no, I'm already drooling before I even put the ingredients in. Chapter 270. The flavor of the marinade was obviously much milder than that of the chili, but its aroma was not inferior to that of the chili at all. Su Yayan also considered that Hua Chenhuan's taste was strong and that she could not eat too much chili, so she could try this marinade. Moreover, this pot of marinade was well preserved and could be braised several times. The more it was braised, the more fragrant it would be. As long as she threw in the ingredients she wanted to eat, she could quickly braise a large pot of delicious food. It was very convenient. Su Yayan had just put a few kinds of hard-to-cook meat into the marinade when she heard Ling Xiaoqi's voice from outside. Yan Yan, what are you doing? Why is it so fragrant? A girl's voice? Is there a young lady in the host's house? It's my friend. I cooked a lot today, so I asked her to come over and eat with me. As expected, this attracted a bunch of messages asking to be friends. At this time, they were not envious of Su Yayan's mysterious husband anymore. They were envious of her friend. Wouldn't it be nice to have such a good friend who would come over to eat and drink from time to time? Su Yayan did not know what they were thinking. She turned around and went out of the kitchen to ask Ling Xiaoqi to sit down first, but found that Zhua Yanbai and the others were also there. Are you here to look for Chenhuan? Zhua Yanbai reacted quickly and said seriously, "Yes, there are a few documents in the company that require the young master's signature. We brought them over." Su Yiyan did not suspect anything. "Thank you for your hard work. It will be almost noon in a while. Stay for lunch before you go back." Their eyes lit up slightly, but they pretended to decline. "How can we do that? Will it be too much trouble for you?" "It's okay. It won't take much time to make a few dishes. It won't take much time." The two were waiting for her to say this. Without thinking they said, "Then it's better to decline courteously than decline courteously." Su Yiyan. She felt that something was not right. Fortunately, Su Yiyan did not think too much about it. She turned around and went into the kitchen to continue the live broadcast. She put the ingredients that she had prepared earlier into the braising sauce and let it cook by the side. He then picked up a small tool and crushed the spices such as star anise leaves and soaked them in white wine for a period of time. At the same time, he took out the butter that he had prepared earlier and placed it into the wok to stir-fry together with the onions and shallots until they were fragrant. Then, he scooped out everything inside, leaving only the oil. After that, add in ginger, garlic, rock sugar, fermented beans, and chopped chili to stir-fry. Finally, add in pepper, chili, and the previously mashed spices, fermented glutinous rice, and other ingredients to stir-fry until it thickens. Let it cool and wait for it to solidify. The viewers in the live stream room had long been hooked by the aroma of the braised ingredients. When they smelled the hot pot ingredients, they almost ascended to heaven on the spot. F***ck, this smell is too strong. There was still an hour before lunch break, but my stomach was already growling loudly. Now, a group of people are watching me. I can't wait to dig a hole and bury myself. Ha 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 ha, upstairs I understand. My stomach is also growling because of the smell in the live stream room. Fortunately, the taste and smell simulator can only be used on the host. Otherwise, my entire office would probably surround me and eat me. Su Yiyan looked at the screen full of complaints and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. She opened the ceramic jar at the side and took a look at the big bone soup that the family Hua chef had stewed early in the morning. Chapter 271. After doing that, Su Yiyan began to prepare the ingredients for the hot pot seasoning. First, there were some potatoes, taro, lettuce, radishes, and other vegetables. Then, there were some beef slices, pork, duck hearts, and duck gizzards. She cut everything, especially the beef and potatoes, which needed to be sliced. They were all cut to about the same size. Unsurprisingly, it attracted another round of praise. After she finished cutting these, the braised food on the side was almost ready. As soon as she opened the lid, the fragrant smell immediately rushed out. It was a bit stronger than before. Not to mention the people waiting outside, many viewers in the live broadcast room who had turned on their virtual sense of smell subconsciously swallowed their saliva. Su Yiyan poked the things in the pot with her chopsticks. After making sure that they were almost cooked, she picked them out one by one and put them on the plate. As soon as she put them down, the viewers who had been waiting for a long time quickly tasted them. The bullet screen was dense again. "Ah, this meat tastes so fragrant. It's 100 times more fragrant than the braised pork I ate before. After tasting it, I only have one thought. Give me a bucket of white rice. I can eat the streamer's family until they become poor." Well, I've been slapped in the face again. Although this chicken feet doesn't have much meat, it's salty and crispy. The more I eat it, the more I want to eat it. I feel like I can eat it all day if you give me a plate. I'm so hungry. I'm really hungry. So hungry, so hungry. I'm really hungry. Does the streamer lack friends? As long as they provide 3 meals, they can accompany you to go shopping, bring you tea, and be at your beck and call. Su Yiyan was amused by the audience's fancy requests for food. After putting away the braised food, she glanced at the hot pot seasoning that she had cooked before. It was already winter, and the weather was very cold. The hot pot seasoning in the pot had been stifled for more than half an hour and had already turned into oil cubes. Su Yiyan scooped up the small red oil cubes and put them into another pot. Then, she filled it with hot water. The soup base immediately turned red and emitted a tempting fragrance. It was also her first time making hot pot. She didn't customize it in advance, and it was impossible to buy a half-and-half double pot outside. She could only cook a pot of soup with 2 flavors. When the time came, they could choose according to their tastes. After doing all this, Su Yiyen sighed softly and smiled slightly. You've all tried the braised food, so I won't talk about it. Just now, someone asked me what this is. It's called hot pot seasoning. It's a kind of special soup base. With this soup base, you only need to prepare these ingredients in advance. After cooking them, you'll be able to eat delicious food. The reason why I prepared 2 pots is because everyone has different tastes. Some people like spicy food, while others can't handle spicy food. Hot pot was considered a food from ancient Earth. Considering the taste, there was a special pot with a piece of metal in the middle that divided the pot into 2. One side was filled with spicy soup while the other side was filled with clear soup. It was also known as the Mandarin duck pot. This way, family and friends can gather together to eat without having to worry about different tastes. Su Yiyen's words made the audience yearn for it, but they did not expect to hear Su Yiyen say in the next second, hot pot needs to be boiled and eaten on the spot, so I won't let you guys eat the broadcast. The braised food will be put online tomorrow. Most people can eat it, but don't eat too much at once. It's easy to get heady. Since I'm in a rather remote place right now, I won't be doing the lucky draw today. See you tomorrow at the shop. Chapter 272. Dinner is ready. Come and help me out. Zhua Yanbai and the others were already tempted by the aroma, and their necks were almost stretched out like swans' necks. Upon hearing Su Yiyen's words, they immediately rushed into the kitchen and asked enthusiastically, "Is there anything we need to move?" Su Yiyen was shocked by their shining eyes. After a few seconds she said, "These 2 pots of soup have to be carried to the front. Set them up." "Understood. Just leave it to us. Young mistress, please move aside so that you don't get scalded." As Gu Xiaoyang spoke, he pushed Su Yiyen aside and followed Zhu Yanbai to carry out the soup. Not long after the 2 of them left, Uncle Zhang and Ling Xiaoqi came in. "Young mistress, please wait outside. We'll carry these out." After Uncle Zhang finished speaking, he politely drove Su Yiyen out. Su Yiyen was confused. Su Yiyen felt that she had been abandoned after being used. She helplessly turned around and left the kitchen to find her husband to comfort her broken heart. Hua Chenhuan happened to be coming downstairs after watching the live broadcast. Su Yiyen met him as soon as she came out of the kitchen. Her eyes lit up as she talked to him about the dishes she had just cooked. "I made braised food in hot pot. There are 2 flavors. You should prefer spicy hot pot, but you just took a medicinal bath last night. I have to perform acupuncture on you tonight, so you can only eat a little spicy food. Let's eat the lighter one today, okay?" Since the dishes were made by Su Yiyen, Hua Chenhuan naturally had no objections. "Okay." Seeing that he was so cooperative, Su Yiyen couldn't help but lean over and kiss him. Zhua Yanbai and Gu Xiaoyang were about to go back to the kitchen to see if there was anything else they needed help with when they bumped into Uncle Zhang and the others. They also happened to see Su Yiyen's family. Therefore, when Su Yiyen raised his head after kissing her, he was met with the astonished gazes of several people. "Ahem, since everyone is here, let's start eating." Su Yiyen quickly pushed Hua Chenhuan to the table and pretended to be a quail. A gentle smile flashed across Hua Chenhuan's eyes. However, when she looked at Zhua Yanbai and the others, her eyes were a little colder, and there was a hint of warning in them. The few of them shuddered and no longer dared to look around. They obediently ran to the kitchen and continued to move things. Although Su Yiyen had prepared a lot of ingredients, it was enough for everyone to make 2 trips back and forth. Putting down the dishes in their hands, no one raised their chopsticks. Instead, each and every one of them looked at Su Yiyen eagerly, as if they were little chicks waiting to be fed. "Su Yiyen, cough, this is a spicy pot, and this is a big bone clear soup pot. You can choose according to your preferences. When the soup is boiling, you can add things to it." As Su Yiyen spoke, he began to add lotus root slices, cucumbers, and other vegetables, as well as beef slices into the pot. The vegetables and beef slices are easier to cook. You can eat them when they float. The beef slices don't have to be boiled for too long. You can scoop them out after boiling them for a few times. If you boil them for too long, They will become overcooked and won't taste good. As Su Yiyan spoke, he demonstrated to the others. After the demonstration, he turned around and handed the boiled beef to Hua Chenhuan. Try it. Under everyone's envious gazes, Hua Chenhuan lowered his head and took a bite of the beef. The well-cooked beef was tender and delicious. Paired with the rich bone broth and the dipping sauce that Su Yiyan had made, it tasted special. Delicious. Chapter 273. They couldn't say anything, so they turned their grief into appetite and clumsily learned from Su Yiyan to cook the hot pot with the serving chopsticks. At first, they were a little unfamiliar with it, but later, they slowly realized the joy of cooking by themselves. After Su Yiyan helped Hua Chenhuan boil a few things, she looked at Uncle Zhang, who was standing by the side. She smiled faintly and said, "Uncle Zhang, sit down and eat with us. I've prepared a lot, and we won't be able to finish it all by ourselves." Well, Uncle Zhang hesitated, but Hua Chenhuan spoke before he did. "Sit down. It's more lively with more people." Uncle Zhang was a little stunned. He thought that since Master and Madam passed away and Hua Chenhuan's leg became like this, the family began to become like a big ice house. There were no more relatives or friends, and young Master became taciturn. He didn't interact with people easily, and he didn't even go out. But now, there was finally some warmth and life in the ice house. The boiling hot pot dispelled the cold of winter and made the old man's eyes red. Uncle Zhang held the bowl and looked at the two people opposite him, who only had eyes for each other. He lowered his head and smiled with relief. Gu Xiaoyang happily picked up a spicy beef slice and put it in the bowl. When he was about to eat, he suddenly felt a hand touching his thigh. Gu Xiaoyang's hand trembled, and he almost screamed on the spot. The next second, he saw Yu Zian poke his head out from under the table and make a gesture to him to keep quiet. Gu Xiaoyang. What was going on? Yu Zian put his palms together and made a gesture to him, but his eyes were glued to the beef slice in Gu Xiaoyang's hand. Gu Xiaoyang was embarrassed. He thought of what Yu Zian had said when he tipped him off, and understood instantly. This guy was afraid that young Master would punish him for what happened in the morning, but he was reluctant to give up the delicious food in his mouth. Gu Xiaoyang sighed. In the end, he still cared about Yu Zian's credit for tipping him off, so he secretly put the beef slice under the table for Yu Zian. After that, the two of them began to eat and feed each other in a harmonious manner. Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan were busy feeding each other, so they didn't have time to care about the others. Uncle Zhang and the others were further away, so everything was fine at first. Until Ling Xiaoqi felt the tablecloth shaking slightly under the table. She looked down and saw a hand on the floor not far away. Ling Xiaoqi narrowed her eyes and stood up with a scream. Su Yiyan and the others were shocked. "What's wrong?" "There's someone down there." Gu Xiaoyang looked embarrassed. Su Yiyan and the others also changed their expressions. Subconsciously, they pulled Hua Chenhuan and moved back to keep a distance from the table. Hua Hua, who had been sitting nearby and ignoring Dundan's harassment, thought that something had happened when she heard her owner scream. With a whoosh, she darted under the table and bit Yu Zian's fleshy butt. Ah! An excessively shrill scream resounded throughout the manor, and the servants who were cleaning outside the courtyard were so scared that they trembled. Everyone in the room watched as a familiar figure crawled out from under the table, wailing and jumping up and down like a monkey. Upon closer inspection, they saw a half-grown corgi cub on Yu Zian's butt, biting the part with the most meat. No matter how Yu Zian struggled and begged for mercy, the cub wouldn't let go and vowed to bite off a piece of Yu Zian's meat. Chapter 274. However, this was not the worst part. When Dun Dun saw that his wife had rushed out and was still hanging behind Yu Zian's butt, he was stunned for 2 or 3 seconds before he also rushed over. With a flying pounce, he bit Yu Zian's other butt. Everyone. So miserable. Su Yiyan and the others were stunned for a few seconds before they recovered from Yu Zian's wailing. They wanted to help, but they didn't know what to do. The scene was a little chaotic for a moment. Ling Xiaoqi didn't expect Hua Hua to suddenly rush out. She was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. She hurriedly shouted, "Hua Hua, let go, don't bite." Su Yiyan heard this and quickly echoed, "Yes, yes, yes, Dun Dun, let go. Don't put anything in your mouth." What if you bite something dirty and have diarrhea? Zhua Yanbai and the others. Young madam, is this the main point? But it turned out that Su Yiyan's words were useful. When the two dogs heard her shout, their small bodies stiffened. Finally, they let go of Yu Ziyan's mouth and jumped down. As soon as the two dogs let go, Yu Ziyan jumped a few more times on the spot. His body fell forward and he collapsed on the ground with his face facing the ground. Fortunately, the weather was cold and the room was covered with blankets. Otherwise, with the force of his fall, he would definitely be disfigured. Gu Xiaoyang and Zhua Yanbai watched the two corgis jump down from Yu Ziyan and walk away before they dared to go forward to check on his condition. After confirming that he should be alive, they raised their hands and poked his head. They gloated and said, "Are you still alive?" Yu Ziyan moved his head and buried his face in the carpet again, unwilling to come out. Let him die. Not only was he caught stealing food, but he was also bitten in the butt by two dogs in front of so many people. His reputation in this life was completely ruined. Yu Ziyan was both embarrassed and in pain. She wished she could travel back in time to half an hour ago and give herself a good beating to wake up from the temptation of delicious food. Ling Xiaoqi wasn't stupid. When she saw how familiar the two of them were with Yu Ziyan, she knew that he was probably someone from Hua Chenhuan's family. Feeling a little awkward, she hugged Hua Hua and said, "I'm sorry." Hua Chenhuan glanced at Yu Ziyan. No need to apologize. He asked for it. Instead of sitting in a good seat, he insisted on hiding under the table. As for the reason, it was easy to guess with a little thought. It wasn't the first or second time that this brat had barged in without knocking first. This was a good opportunity to teach him a lesson. If he dared to do this again, he would close the door and play Dun Dun. Dun Dun, who was inexplicably entrusted with such an important task. At that time, Yu Ziyan didn't know his young master's sinister intentions. When he heard Hua Chenhuan say this, he whimpered and buried his face in the carpet again, even more unwilling to get up. Su Yiyan saw him like this and felt a little sympathetic. He asked in a low voice, "Why are you hiding under the table? Do you want to take advantage of our Xiaoqi?" Yu Ziyan's whole body shook. He didn't care about his face and the burning pain in his butt. He said anxiously, No, I definitely don't have such an idea." "Then why?" Yu Ziyan opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. Seeing that he didn't respond, Su Yiyan became more and more certain of his thoughts. He looked at Yu Ziyan with eyes full of pain and disappointment, as if saying, "I didn't expect you to be such a person." Chapter 275. Perhaps because Yu Ziyan's expression was too sullen, Gu Xiaoyang and the others standing on the side couldn't help laughing out loud. When Yu Ziyan heard them laughing, he felt even more ashamed and angry. Fortunately, although the two laughed, they still helped Yu Ziyan explain. "Young madam, Ziyan didn't mean to offend Miss Ling. He just wanted to eat your food too much. If he wants to eat my food, then eat it. How can I be so stingy as to not let him eat it? He did something wrong this morning and was worried that you and young master would blame him." This morning? Su Yiyan suddenly realized. Are you talking about what happened this morning? We've almost forgotten about it, but you still remember it. But it wasn't a big deal, so you don't have to be so nervous. Do you think we'll eat you? Yu Ziyan thought to himself, you can't eat me, but you can make me unlucky. Especially young master. With his vengeful temper, it was impossible for him not to be unlucky these days. As if reading Yu Ziyan's mind, Su Yiyan asked Hua Chenhuan after she finished speaking, "Chenhuan, don't you think so?" Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered, and naturally agreed with his wife unconditionally. "Yes, Yu Ziyan. So I'm just being unreasonable and worrying for nothing?" Yu Ziyan gave up struggling. He lowered his head and looked like he had nothing to live for. Ling Xiaoqi, on the other hand, was a little curious. What did he do this morning? Why is he so scared? Su Yiyan coughed softly, straightened her face, and changed the topic. "It's nothing. Which one of you take him to treat his wound? Also, remember to get vaccinated. Although Dun Dun and Hua Hua have both been vaccinated, it's better to be safe than sorry." As soon as Su Yiyan said that, Gu Xiaoyang and Gu Xiaoyang immediately took 3 steps back and distanced themselves from Yu Ziyan by 3 meters. Obviously, Neither of them wanted to miss such a rare meal just to send him to be bandaged. Yu Zian. Motherf asterisk Kerr. Was a living person like him not as important as a meal? He finally saw through these two fellows. Plastic brotherhood. Goodbye. Although, if he thought about it from another perspective, if they were bitten and asked him to send them to the hospital, he would actually not be very willing. In the end, it was Uncle Zhang who called for help to escort him off the island. Before he left, Yu Zian looked at them with an extremely sad expression. Especially when he saw the table full of unfinished dishes. He was so regretful that his intestines turned green. As soon as Yu Zian left, Su Yiyen and the others sat back down and started eating. While helping Hua Chenhuan cook, Su Yiyen recalled Yu Zian's expression when he left and couldn't help but laugh. I'll cook some porridge and have someone send it to Zian later. He just ate a few mouthfuls, so he's definitely not full yet. Hua Chenhuan frowned. Although she didn't object, there was still a hint of jealousy in her eyes. Su Yiyen laughed and coaxed her in a low voice. After all, it's our family's dog that bit someone. We have to do something. It was as if their child had gotten into trouble, and as parents, they had to do something to compensate the people who had been harmed by their child. Hua Chenhuan's jealousy dissipated in an instant, and she said awkwardly, "Thank you for your hard work." "It's okay. Our Dun is so naughty. I'm used to it." Chapter 276. Su Yiyen had prepared a lot of food. She thought that it would be more than enough for a few people. She did not expect that this group of people would be like the reincarnation of gluttons who had been hungry for many years. They would not stop until they finished the food. In the end, except for her and Hua Chenhuan, the few people, including Uncle Zhang, ate until they were full. Ling Xiaoqi covered her round belly and took Su Yiyen to the small courtyard behind the manor for a walk. Zhua Yanbai and Gu Xiaoyang followed Hua Chenhuan upstairs. What they said before was not entirely an excuse. They did have something to report to Hua Chenhuan. However, before Yu Zian called them, they did not have to come so early to be third wheels. Hua Qihan and his wife found out about Hua Xiaofan and that woman falling into the water last night. It is said that he threw a big tantrum at the hospital and smashed a lot of things. Did he pay for it? Gu Xiaoyang looked confused. What? He smashed things in the hospital. Did he pay for it? Gu Xiaoyang suddenly twitched when he heard this. He found that his young master's style had changed after he got married. I don't think so. Then let him pay for it. Destroying public property is not what a good citizen should do. If he dares not to pay for it, let someone expose him. The head of the Hua group flew into a rage in public and made a scene. I believe a lot of media outlets will like this report. Gu Xiaoyang was slightly stunned. Immediately, his eyes lit up and he said, I understand. Zhua Yanbai heard this and asked tentatively, Are you going to completely fall out with Hua Qihan? At the wedding banquet last night, when he heard Hua Chenhuan openly say to those women that he was the only heir of the family Hua, he already had a guess in his heart. Now that he heard his young master's words, Zhua Yanbai was even more certain. I gave him time and opportunity, but he didn't take it. Hua Chenhuan twirled the wedding ring in her hand as a cold glint flashed across her eyes. He shouldn't have touched my people. Gu Xiaoyang and Gu Xiaoyang looked at each other and saw some understanding in each other's eyes. Sure enough, young madam was young master's only reverse scale. Anyone who touched her would die. However, this was exactly what they wanted. That's great. All these years, I've watched that family occupy that position with a clear conscience. From time to time, they would come in front of young master to flaunt their prowess and disgust others. Let's see how they can still be proud now. It was stolen in the first place, and yet they are still so shameless. Cough cough, cough cough. Gu Xiaoyang stopped complaining abruptly. Looking at Zhua Yanbai, who kept winking at him, he realized that he had said something wrong and hurriedly shut his mouth. Zhua Yanbai took the opportunity to change the topic. I heard from the people who keep an eye on Hua Qihan's family that Hua Qihan and his wife are even more dissatisfied with that woman because of this incident. Gu Xiaoyang knew that Zhua Yanbai was helping him to smooth things over, so he took the opportunity to say, Isn't that so? What was Hua Xiaofan thinking? He didn't want a virtuous wife like young madam and chose a wretch who has no family background, no talent, and is not even as pretty as young madam. He dragged her around every day to show off his intelligence. It's so funny. When Hua Chenhuan heard what he said, she only replied faintly, "If he wasn't blind, how could I have picked him up?" Chapter 277. If what you said last night got out, I'm afraid that Hua Qihan will come to trouble you and young madam. Hua Chenhuan narrowed his eyes dangerously. If he can still trouble me and Yan Yan, it means that he hasn't encountered much trouble yet. Zhuo Yanbai's eyes darkened slightly. The land that Hua Qihan bought before is almost in trouble. But if this happens, I'm afraid that the Hua Corporation will also suffer a great loss. It doesn't matter. The Hua Corporation that Hua Qihan has been in charge of for so many years is no longer the Hua Corporation that my father left behind. Zhuo Yanbai frowned and remained silent. With Hua Chenhuan's current assets, the small Hua Corporation was indeed not worthy of his attention. But in this case, why should he spend so much effort to get the Hua Corporation back? As if seeing Zhuo Yanbai's thoughts, Hua Chenhuan sneered. No matter what, the Hua Corporation was left behind by my father. They don't deserve it. Hua Chenhuan said and asked again, "How is the investigation of the cause of my parents' death going?" When they heard Hua Chenhuan's question, their expressions turned solemn and they said apologetically, "It's been a long time since the incident happened. Most of the people involved have gone far away or passed away. It's a little slow to investigate." This answer was within Hua Chenhuan's expectations. He lowered his eyes and said, "It's okay. You can continue to investigate. There will always be a result." If this matter had nothing to do with Hua Qihan and his wife, it would be fine. If it was really related, Hua Chenhuan's eyes were full of hostility. He subconsciously touched the ring on his finger. When he opened his eyes again, the terrible hostility had gradually dissipated. Downstairs, Su Yiyan was dragged by Ling Xiaoqi to the back garden of the manor and walked back and forth a few times. She was not so full anymore. Then, they sat side by side under the swing in the yard and chatted. The yard was surrounded by blue roses that Su Yiyan liked. Circles of lavender morning glories climbed on the pergola of the swing. It looked warm and beautiful, perfectly in line with the fairyland of the ancient castle in fairy tales. "It's so beautiful here," Ling Xiaoqi praised while swinging the swing. "I used to think that few rich men were not fickle. Now that I see you getting along with your husband, I realize that I was narrow-minded. There are good and bad people in every group. There are good people and bad people in the poor, and naturally there are also bad people in the rich. The kind of rich men you're talking about are either playboys who live their lives and wait for death, or those who rely on women to start their careers but are arrogant and self-righteous. It does make sense for men to turn bad once they have money, but it's not absolute. It's just that under the bombardment of money and drunken riddles, fewer people can hold on. That's why girls still have to keep their eyes open. Don't look for a boyfriend in the garbage dump. If you're really unfortunate enough to meet one, you have to know how to withdraw in time to stop your losses, lest you sink deeper and deeper." Ling Xiaoqi listened to her words and was silent for a long time. She couldn't help but laugh and say, "Oh, you have become a relationship consultant after getting married. You have a lot of reasons. It's a pity that many things in this world are easier said than done, just like your husband. What you're saying now makes sense. If he really changes in the future, you may not be willing to let go." "That's impossible." "What? Even if he changes, he will only love me more and more. It's impossible for the kind of thing you're worried about to happen." Chapter 278. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness as he chuckled. "Men become bad when they have money. Then why don't we make them poor? Your man owns such a large manor under his name. How can he be poor?" "Who said that this manor is his?" Ling Xiaoqi blinked. Then, as if she had thought of something, her eyes suddenly widened. "It's not his? Could it be that he rented it?" "That's right. Buying an island and a manor for a wedding is too extravagant. In fact, renting this place to hold such a dream wedding for you is already very considerate. What are you thinking? This island is not rented." "Not rented? Then just now you—" "This island was indeed his before, but—" Su Yiyan raised his chin, looking proud as if he was showing off his favorite toy to a good friend. "It's mine now." Yours? Ling Xiaoqi almost turned into a screaming chicken. That's right. When he proposed to me, he gave this to me. Not only here, he also gave me a lot of movable and immovable property as betrothal gifts. My parents didn't accept them and transferred them to me as my dowry. After speaking for a long time, Su Yiyan didn't hear any movement from Ling Xiaoqi's side. He turned his head and saw Ling Xiaoqi's sparkling little eyes. Dear, do you still need a leg accessory? Su Yiyan refused. You're too heavy. I can't walk if I hang it on me. I don't want you. Ling Xiaoqi clutched her chest, looking as if she had suffered a violent blow. It's true that you don't want your old love when you have a new one. When you liked me, you made all kinds of vows and sweet nothings. You even wanted to pick the stars and the moon for me. Now that you've met someone better, I, the white moonlight, have become yesterday's flower. It's too sad. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly, but his face still looked cold and indifferent. Give up. I've already found my true love. It's impossible between us. However, if you're willing, you can let our pups replace us to make up for this regret. Ling Xiaoqi's face changed slightly. She stopped pretending to cry and said with arms akimbo, Well, not only are you a scumbag, you even dare to covet my Hua Hua. Aren't you doing this because I love you? You're going too far. Give up. I'll never agree to this marriage. Fortunately, the two cubs ran out to play after eating. Otherwise, if Dun Dun, that kind of licking dog, really heard the conversation between these two masters of drama, it might really believe it and lay on the ground to make a scene and act shamelessly. TSK. Su Yiyan sighed, looking like an old mother who was worried sick about her child. That's not right. Our Dun Dun is a good boy. He looked honest and was loyal to Hua Hua. It was just that Chi Hua Hua was not by his side, and he had never thought of looking for another dog. What an infatuated and loyal dog. Now he has a handsome and rich dog for a father. His value has skyrocketed. He can be considered a noble among dogs. He's the prettiest pup in the Corgi family. You and your Hua Hua are a perfect match. There's nothing more perfect than that. Ling Xiaoqi listened to Su Yiyan's shameless boasting and almost couldn't hold back her laughter. No matter how good he is, it's useless if my Hua Hua doesn't like him. Just as she finished speaking, there was a sudden high-pitched barking and a woman's ear-piercing scream outside the door. Chapter 279. When Su Yiyan and Dun Dun ran out of the backyard, they saw Hua Hua's fur bristling as it bared its fangs at the two people in front of it. Dun Dun was barking at them from the side. The funniest thing was that Mrs. Hua, who was proud of herself outside, was now weak in the knees. She screamed and grabbed her husband's pants. She used so much strength that she almost pulled Hua Qihan's pants off. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and felt that this scene was very familiar. Hua Qihan's face was livid. His aggressive manner when he came had long faded away, leaving only a belly full of anger. He tried to pull up his pants and gnashed his teeth, wanting to kick the two dogs. Su Yiyan's eyes turned cold and her face darkened. Fortunately, Mrs. Hua was holding them back. Hua Qihan's kick did not hurt the two little guys at all. Instead, he staggered and almost fell. Uncle Zhang, who had been smiling and pretending to coax the two dogs to leave, saw this scene and his face darkened. He said coldly, President Hua, this dog is young madam's favorite pet. If you hurt it, I'm afraid it will be difficult to explain to young madam. The term President Hua and the intimate young madam formed a sharp contrast. It also fully showed Uncle Zhang's intimate attitude toward the two. Hua Qihan had always been sensitive to this kind of differential treatment. His face immediately darkened and he laughed angrily. Explain? What do I need to explain to her? It's just a beast. Let alone injuring it, even if I kick it to death today, what can she do to me? Uncle Zhang's face was cold and he did not comment. He had once doted on this young master, but it was a pity that this young master was an ingrate who could not be nurtured properly. Back then, Madam and Old Master doted on him and gave him everything. As soon as the two of them passed away, he could not wait to reveal his true colors. Not only did he want to monopolize all the property of the family Hua, but he also wanted to drive the young master out of the family Hua. Fortunately, Old Master had left a will and left some real estate to the young master. Otherwise, Such an unfilial, heartless scum had long made these old people, who had been in the family Hua for a long time, bitterly disappointed. Naturally, their attitude towards him was not any better. However, Hua Qihan had no self-awareness at all. He still felt that these people owed him for offending their superiors. Who says I can't do anything to you? On the second day of their wedding, Su Yiyan originally did not intend to come forward and argue with these troublesome things. When she heard Hua Qihan's words, she sneered and walked out. She held the two dogs in her arms. Poor Zai Zai, you're being bullied by these outsiders in your own home. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Master is here. Dun Dun was still barking, vowing to be a proud dog that Hua Hua could rely on. As soon as it heard its master's words, it immediately softened and cried out pitifully. In an instant, it changed from dog Outyen to dog Jiao Jiao. Hua Hua glanced at it with disdain, its face saying, "How did I get to know such an embarrassing dog like you?" Chapter 280. Su Yiyan was already angry at this idiot who wanted to kill her dog. When she heard his arrogant words, she almost stepped forward and kicked him. At this time, Uncle Zhang was still worried that she would be at a disadvantage, so he explained, "Young madam, it's like this. Dun Dun and Hua Hua were playing in the front yard when President Hua and Mrs. Hua suddenly came to visit. As soon as they saw Dun Dun, they suddenly rushed up and kicked it. Hua Hua happened to see this scene, so it bit Mrs. Hua. Hua Hua, who had been slightly raising its chin and disdainful of what was happening in front of it, heard Uncle Zhang's explanation and hit Dun Dun with the back of its hand. It was not clear whether it was dissatisfied with how useless it was or depressed that it made such a fool of itself. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard. Su Yiyan's expression changed when she heard Uncle Zhang's words. She picked up Dun Dun and said anxiously, "You were kicked? Where were you kicked? Let me take a look." Dun Dun was turned around by its owner and thought that its owner was playing with it. It immediately cooperated and pretended to be weak and collapsed into its owner's arms. Little did it know that Su Yiyan was scared half to death because of its actions. "Dun Dun, what's wrong with you? Don't be afraid. Master will take you to see a doctor." "It's okay, it's okay." As she said that, she picked up Dun Dun and scolded Hua Qihan with a dark face. "What kind of dog is this? You're Chen Huan's big brother and the head of family Hua. Why don't you take a look and see if you're worthy? It's fine if my Dun Dun is fine today, but if something really happens to him because of your kick, believe it or not, I'll buy a bunch of mad dogs and send them to your house tomorrow. They'll bite you, your wife, and your dog's son to death." Su Yiyan's little mouth was like a machine gun, spitting out words one after another. Hua Qihan's face turned green and he was so angry that he almost died on the spot. Uncle Zhang did not expect her to suddenly explode. It took him a while to react. He held back his laughter and said, "Young madam, I was too careless with my words just now and caused you to misunderstand. Although President Hua wanted to kick the dog, he wasn't as agile as a young man, so he only narrowly missed it." Su Yiyan, who was rushing out, stopped abruptly and lowered his head to look at Dun Dun. "Are you all right?" Dun Dun looked back at her innocently, trying to get away with it. Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan was silent for a few seconds before he tried to salvage the situation. Even if he wasn't really hit, he must have been scared to death. Our family's Dun Dun is still a baby. Which heartless bastard had the heart to do such a thing to it? You too, I just told you not to bite these dirty things at noon, but you didn't listen. What if you have diarrhea? Dun Dun whimpered, feeling wronged. Hua Qihan had thought that Su Yiyan would ignore him after learning that she did not kick the B***-starred dog. Who would have thought that after waiting for such a long time, all he got was a few words? He almost vomited blood. "You're full of filthy words and distorting the truth. It was clearly your dog that bit my wife, but now you're blaming us and talking to us like this. Is this the upbringing of the Su family?" Su Yiyan's face darkened and she sneered. "If you hadn't kicked my dog, would they have bitten you? You came to my house to kick my dog. Don't talk about being bitten in the leg. Even if you were bitten to death, don't you deserve it?" Su Yiyan said, ignoring how ugly Hua Qihan's expression was. She turned to Uncle Zhang and said, "Uncle Zhang, check the planet's laws on the heaviest punishment for trespassing and what rights the owner has to deal with trespassing." Chapter 281. Hua Qihan's face darkened even more. How dare you? Su Yiyan chuckled. Why wouldn't I dare? Let's not talk about whether Chun Huan recognizes you as his elder brother. Even if he does, I'm not related to you by blood. I won't show you any mercy. Don't try to use family as an excuse. Don't you know? Chun Huan transferred this island to me before we got married. Now, this island and this manor are all mine. You came to the island without the owner's permission, broke into my manor, and hurt my dog. If I call someone to arrest you now, how many days do you think you and your wife will be detained? Hua Qihan's face turned pale. He didn't expect Su Yiyan to behave like this after marrying Hua Chunhuan. Before this, when she met with these elders, she had clearly behaved very politely and gracefully, knowing when to advance and when to retreat. Even when she broke off her engagement with Hua Xiaofan and was about to be engaged to Hua Chunhuan, she had only said a few words to them. She had never behaved like this. Hua Qihan had obviously forgotten that Su Yiyan had respected them when she met them before because Mrs. Hua was an old friend of Cheng Xiuqin. She had respected them because of Cheng Xiuqin. Now that the two families had turned against each other, they still wanted to use their status as elders to suppress her. They didn't deserve it. Su Yiyan glanced at the two of them coldly and sneered. Uncle Zhang, tell them, if they break into a private house and have a conflict with the owner, how will they be punished? Young madam, according to the rules, if they break into a private house and have a conflict with the owner's family can take certain measures against the intruder. Whether they kill or maim the intruder, it's considered self-defense and irresponsibility. On the contrary, if the owner is injured because of this, they can ask the intruder to pay some compensation. Did you hear that? Do you want to leave on your own, or do you want me to drive you away? If it's the former, seeing that you're old, I'll just ask you for some compensation for the mental damage my family's Dun and Hua Hua suffered. If it's the latter, it won't be as simple as compensation. Just as Su Yiyan's voice fell, several servants ran out of the house. Looking at their postures, they really weren't joking. They were just waiting for Su Yiyan's order to throw them out to the sea to feed the fish. Are you threatening me? Hua Qihan also panicked. He didn't expect Su Yiyan to be so lawless and unconventional. He couldn't care less and shouted at the top of his lungs. Where's Hua Chunhuan? Tell Hua Chunhuan to come out. Su Yiyan was also angry when she heard Hua Qihan calling for them. Hua Qihan and his wife had rushed over so anxiously on the second day of their wedding. They were clearly here to pick a fight. She had planned to send these two people away while Hua Chunhuan was still upstairs talking with Gu Xiaoyang and the others. Unexpectedly, these two people started to howl. Look at you, why are you shouting so loudly? I've already told you that I'm the owner of this manor on this island. Why are you still shouting and yelling when you've broken into my place? You guys help me. Since they don't want to leave, send them away. Several servants subconsciously glanced at Uncle Zhang when they heard this. When they saw Uncle Zhang nod, they wanted to go forward and grab them. Hua Qihan was so angry that he subconsciously took a step back. When a servant reached out, he said, Well, a group of traitorous people. Try to touch me again and see what I'm going to do. If I don't see Hua Chunhuan today and get him to give me an explanation, no one can make me leave. Chapter 282. As soon as Hua Qihan finished speaking, a cold voice came from behind them. Everyone in the courtyard was stunned. They turned around and saw Hua Chunhuan being pushed out by Zui Yanbai. Why did you come out? Su Yiyan ran to Hua Chunhuan's side with Dun in her arms. Her face was full of worry and anxiety. Hua Chunhuan patted Su Yiyan's hand comfortingly and asked in a low voice, Is Dun all right? Su Yiyan was slightly stunned. She took the opportunity to complain. He's not injured. He's just a little scared. Dun immediately whimpered and looked exactly like a frightened and pitiful little thing. When Hua Qihan saw that Hua Chunhuan did not care about her brother and sister-in-law after coming out and instead asked about the dog's condition, he became even angrier. Could it be that in this useless person's eyes, her brother was not as important as a dog? Hua Chunhuan, are you just going to let this be *tch humiliate your brother and sister-in-law? Are you going to let her trample on the family Hua's face so unscrupulously? Hua Chunhuan's hand, which was stroking Dun, paused. Her cold eyes stared straight at Hua Qihan with ridicule. Aren't you and your son the ones who trampled on the family Hua's face? What did you say? You brought a shady woman to cause a scene at the family Hua's wedding banquet before the engagement was annulled. You became the laughing stock of the upper class. After that, you followed that woman and did all kinds of shameless things, causing people to talk about you behind your back. It turns out that you still know how to protect the family Hua's face. I thought you had lost your face long ago. You. If you're here today to argue with me about the family Hua's face, then you can get lost. You're the last person in the world who has the right to say these things. Hua Qihan was startled by Hua Chenhuan's cold gaze that suddenly swept over him. For some reason, he suddenly felt a little guilty. However, he quickly reacted and pretended to be calm as he roared, "Impudent! Is this the attitude you should have towards your big brother?" Hua Chenhuan sneered and gave Uncle Zhang a look. Uncle Zhang understood and waved his hand to signal the servants to drive them out. Hua Qihan was so angry that he could not speak. It was Mrs. Hua, who had finally calmed down, who tried to smooth things over. "Chenhuan, what are you doing? No matter what, we're still a family. Is there a need to mobilize so many people? When there's trouble, we're family. When there's nothing going on, we'll just cut off all contact with each other. You've already said so much. Do you really think everyone is a sucker?" Su Yiyen's words were so hurtful that the smile on Mrs. Hua's face suddenly froze. After a while she calmed down and said dryly, "Sister-in-law, you're joking." Su Yiyen's patience was worn out and she could not be bothered to argue with them anymore. "What exactly are you here for? Didn't you get married yesterday? Xiaofan brought his girlfriend and wanted to congratulate you." Before Mrs. Hua could finish speaking, Su Yiyen interrupted her. "If I remember correctly, we didn't send an invitation to your family for our wedding." Both of them were well aware of this matter, but when the family Hua was mentioned so bluntly, the couple's faces still turned a little ugly. "Although we didn't have an invitation, we're still a family. Everyone in our family came to attend your wedding. In the eyes of outsiders, who knows how much gossip will spread?" Chapter 283. I see. Su Yiyen narrowed her eyes and chuckled. "I was going to say that Hua Xiaofeng and I were once engaged. Now that I'm his elder, he has to call me aunt whenever he sees me. There are so many people coming and going at the wedding. If someone hears this, won't he be laughed at on the spot? Young people are arrogant. Maybe he thinks that I sent him an invitation to deliberately humiliate him. I didn't expect him to be much more thick-skinned than I thought. I didn't ask him to come, but he rushed over himself." In just a few words, she threw Mrs. Hua's praise back at her. At the same time, she also ridiculed Hua Xiaofeng for being shameless. They didn't even send them an invitation. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that they didn't want to see them on this festive day. Not only did they rush over themselves, but they also brought their mistress. Weren't they trying to disgust Su Yiyen? Mrs. Hua's expression stiffened when she heard this. "Your wedding is such a big event. How could no one come? Qihan and I have been busy these days, so we asked Xiaofeng to come." Su Yiyen looked at her with a half-smile and didn't comment. Mrs. Hua almost choked under her stare. After a few seconds of silence, she continued, "But I heard that something happened to Xiaofeng as soon as he landed on the island last night. He was knocked off the boat." "Oh, I know about this. I also heard that the person who hit him—" "You don't need to hear about it. The person who hit them and sent them to the hospital was my aunt." Hua Qihan and his wife didn't expect Su Yiyen to admit it so easily. They stared at Su Yiyen for a while before saying, "Your aunt? How can your aunt be so overboard? My son came to congratulate you with good intentions. It's fine if you don't welcome him, but how can you hit him?" Good intentions? If they had good intentions, there wouldn't be any evil people in this world. Ling Xiaoqi, who had been standing in the background, suddenly sighed. "So you know that Yan Yan doesn't welcome you?" Hua Qihan's face turned blue. He pointed at Ling Xiaoqi and scolded, "Who are you? How dare an outsider like you comment on our family Hua's affairs? If you dare to do it, don't be afraid of others talking about it." Su Yiyen was furious when she saw Hua Qihan yelling at Ling Xiaoqi. "Why are you yelling so loudly? Wasn't he still alive? Those who didn't know better would think that your son had died and no one was there to send him off. What are you talking about? Common language. Su Yiyan glanced at their indignant faces and said sarcastically, "Didn't you just say that you're a family? I'm his aunt, his elder, and my aunt is his elder. It's perfectly justified for an elder to teach a junior a lesson. Even so, you can't." Can't what? Do you really think that you don't know anything about the dirty things your son did back then if we don't mention it? My aunt has doted on me since I was a child. She happily came back to attend my wedding. As soon as she arrived on the island, she met two disgusting things. She taught them a lesson as an elder and taught them to respect their elders. What's wrong with that? Chapter 284. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, the two of them were so angry that they almost fell back. What did she mean by taking a detour when she saw their family members in the future? Was she going to beat him up every time she saw him? Arrogant. She was too arrogant. Su Yiyan only felt happy to see them like this. When Hua Xiaofang's incident came out, this family was disgusting. Especially the two people in front of her who always used their status as elders to suppress her. They wanted her to forgive Hua Xiaofang for what he had done. She played it down as if what Hua Xiaofang had done was just a trivial matter. She shouldn't care about it, or else she would be ungenerous. Now, she was the same generation as the two people in front of her. She was Hua Xiaofang's elder, and her elder was the elder of Hua Xiaofang's elder. Any one of them could use the name of being arrogant and disrespectful to elders to suppress her. It was hard to say who would be the most disgusting in the future. Su Yiyan aroused Hua Qihan's anger. He turned his head and shouted at Hua Chenhuan. "Chenhuan, control this B***tch. I think my wife is right and..." Hua Chenhuan's eyes were slightly sharp. "She is not a B***tch. If you don't want your tongue, I can help you remove it." Hua Qihan choked. "Do you really want to fall out with me because of this woman? The woman you're talking about is my wife. As for you..." Hua Chenhuan's eyes were full of mockery. "Instead of pestering me about falling out with you, it's better to go back and think about how to make up for the Hua Group's deficit during this period of time. Otherwise, the only thing you can rely on will change in a few months." Hua Qihan's face turned pale when he heard this. He looked at Hua Chenhuan with a bit more vigilance and hatred. "My parents made a will that year and handed the Hua Group to me." Hua Chenhuan didn't comment. She only said ambiguously, "The Hua family's surname is Hua. It used to be, it is, and it will be in the future." Hua Qihan's heart trembled violently, and he looked at Hua Chenhuan with even more trepidation. He did not even dare to look her in the eye. Hua Chenhuan saw the change in Hua Qihan's expression, and her eyes darkened slightly. "Nothing much. I'm just sending President Hua and his wife off. It's the second day of our wedding. My wife and I don't want to be disturbed." Once Hua Chenhuan said this, there was basically no room for negotiation. Mrs. Hua tugged at Hua Qihan's sleeve, wanting him to help say something. However, at this moment, Hua Qihan's mind was already in a mess because of Hua Chenhuan's words. How could he care about seeking an explanation for his son? "Don't touch me. I'll walk by myself." "Qihan." Hua Qihan had already left. Even if Mrs. Hua was unwilling, she had to follow him. Su Yiyan saw this and snorted coldly. She said to the several security guards outside the door, "You guys should be more vigilant in the future. Don't bring anything worse than pigs and dogs into the house." Dundon's small ears twitched, and it barked twice unhappily. Su Yiyan instantly understood. Okay. I was wrong. I shouldn't have compared this trash with you." Dundon was satisfied. It barked a few times in the direction of the two people arrogantly to express its disdain for them. Mrs. Hua hadn't gone far. When she heard Su Yiyan's words, she was so angry that she turned around and was about to walk back. Just as she was about to take the first step, she was blocked by the tall security guards. She was stunned. In the end, she didn't dare to confront them head-on. She walked away with an ashen face. Chapter 285. It was rare for Hua Chenhuan to be so angry, and the atmosphere instantly froze. In the end, Uncle Zhang was the first to break the silence. The news from the ferry said that 2 people somehow sneaked into the fleet and ran in while they were sending Mr. Yu off the island. Su Yiyen looked surprised. So coincidental? Of course not. I'm afraid they had been waiting there for a long time. Su Yiyen nodded understandingly. What about Yu Zian? Did he successfully get off the island? After that, Mr. Yu was successfully sent off the island to be bandaged, but what? But when the 2 people rushed in, the scene was a little chaotic. Mr. Yu was already injured somewhere, and after being pushed down, his injuries worsened. I'm afraid he suffered some physical pain. As soon as Uncle Zhang finished speaking, Gu Xiaoyang and Su Yiyen burst out laughing. Su Yiyen. She had to admit that it was really tragic. Hua Chenhuan listened to the ins and outs of the matter and looked a little better. She held Su Yiyen's hand and said apologetically, "It's my fault for not arranging it properly. There won't be a next time." "I'm fine." Su Yiyen patted Hua Chenhuan's hand comfortingly. Then, she seemed to think of something and turned to Ling Xiaoqi. "I'm sorry you had to see this." Ling Xiaoqi chuckled and didn't care much. "It's okay. Not everyone gets to see the real-life version of a fight between rich and powerful families. You have to say, it was quite exciting. It's just that the difference between their ranks was too big. They were scared away with just a few words. I thought they would cry, make a scene, and threaten to hang themselves before it was over. Now it seems that I overestimated them." Zhou Yanbai and the others looked at Ling Xiaoqi's shining eyes and her face filled with indescribable regret. The corners of their mouths twitched slightly, and they secretly sighed in their hearts. A person who can be young Madame's best friend is indeed not an ordinary person. Her mental fortitude is not ordinary, but her focus is a little off. Su Yiyen breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that she was indeed unaffected. Then, he turned his gaze to Hua Hua and chuckled. "I never thought that Hua Hua would stand up for our Dun Dun. From the looks of it, your Hua Hua isn't completely uninterested in our Dun Dun." In fact, it was not difficult to understand Hua Hua's thoughts. The 2 dogs were childhood sweethearts who had been in contact with each other since they were young. Hua Hua was cold and aloof. She usually ignored Dun Dun, but in her heart, she had long regarded it as her own dog. If one really looked into it, it was some kind of, "my dog can only be bullied by me. If anyone else dares to touch it, see if I won't beat them to death," complex. Thinking of this, Su Yiyen's gaze suddenly became complicated as he looked at his own crossdresser. If Hua Hua was a bossy boss, what was her dog? A bossy boss's little wife? Done. Bossy boss's little wife done. Ling Xiaoqi obviously saw this point as well. She reached out and patted Hua Hua's head with a look of disappointment. "Good for you." Hua Hua nestled in Ling Xiaoqi's arms and looked straight ahead like an emotionless king. It didn't even look at her. Ling Xiaoqi was angry and amused at the same time. She even suspected that this little ingrate had teamed up with Su Yiyen to deliberately set her up. Hua Chenhuan listened to the conversation between the 2 and was a little curious. "What are you talking about?" Chapter 286. When Hua Chenhuan heard what she said, he subconsciously glanced at the dog that he had been raising for more than a month. As the dog's father, he could see how much this little cub liked the dog called Hua Hua. Although he often despised the dog for being stupid and often acted dumb, it was still his own cub. As soon as we finished talking, we heard a noise outside. As soon as we came out, we found out that Hua Qihan had almost kicked Dun Dun and angered Hua Hua. Hua Chenhuan raised his eyebrows and quickly figured out the cause and effect. Following Su Yiyen's words, he asked knowingly, "You mean, don't you think it's fun? He usually seems to be cold to you, but if you are really bullied, he will definitely be the first to stand up and help you fight back." Hua Chenhuan didn't think much of it and unconditionally agreed with his little wife. "It's quite fun." Su Yiyen immediately smiled with a trace of slyness in her eyes. She leaned closer to Hua Chenhuan and said, "Isn't it like the old you?" "What? Isn't Hua Hua like the old you?" Obviously, he cared more than anyone else, but on the surface, he always pretended to be unapproachable. He even deliberately pretended to be indifferent just to make the other party back off. But if he really did back off, he might be angry and sad in his heart. The only difference was that Hua Chunhuan cared too much about his own shortcomings and was unwilling to let the person he loved make do with him. Hua Hua probably really thought that Dun Dun was too stupid and was a little disgusted. Dun Dun, who had been attacked many times by his owner, his father, and even his future mother-in-law, was speechless. Stupid dogs had no dog rights these days, right? What was stupid about it? It was honest. Honest. Ahem. Ahem. Seeing that the young couple had begun to show affection again, the few people present decisively chose to escape. Gu Xiaoyang said, "I have something to do in the afternoon, so I'll go back first." Zhua Yanbai said, "There's no one at the company to look after it. I'll go first." "Then I will also." Ling Xiaoqi was about to run away with Hua Hua in her arms, but Dun Dun couldn't bear to see his wife run away again. He jumped out of Su Yiyen's arms in a hurry. He hugged Ling Xiaoqi's leg and refused to let go. He looked like a rascal who said, "If you want to leave, please take me with you. If you don't, I won't let you go." Hua Hua jumped down and raised its paw to hit Dun Dun, knocking it off Ling Xiaoqi's leg. Dun Dun wasn't sad. He got up and pounced on Hua Hua. Hua Hua dodged to the side and slapped its face with its paw, knocking it down. "Everyone. Ahem, since it wants to follow you, you can bring it to your house to stay for a few days. I'll pick it up in a few days when I'm free." When Dun Dun heard Su Yiyen's words, he didn't feel disappointed that he was about to leave home. Instead, he couldn't wait and barked a few more times. Su Yiyen. "Fine, I don't want this little ingrate anymore. Whoever wants it can take it away." Ling Xiaoqi looked embarrassed. "That's not a good idea, right?" Dun Dun barked a few times in a hurry, fearing that he would be left behind. Su Yiyen's mouth twitched. He said helplessly and angrily, "There's nothing wrong with it. I'll be relieved if it stays with you." Ling Xiaoqi. "Is this a matter of whether or not you'll be relieved? This is a matter of whether or not I agree to this marriage." In the end, Ling Xiaoqi couldn't refuse the proposal of inviting a wolf into the house. She left with Dun Dun. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.